Hello everyone. Welcome to all of you in the chapter 1 of class 11, Some Basic Concepts of Chemistry. This is the part 1 in which we cover laws of chemical combination. Learning objectives of this part are that after this part, students will be able to define and describe different laws of chemical combinations like law of conservation of mass, law of definite proportion, law of multiple proportion, Gay-Lussac's law of gaseous volume, and Avogadro's law. You will be able to explain all the laws by giving suitable examples. You will be able to solve numericals related to different laws. You will be able to define atomic mass, relative atomic mass, molecular mass, and formula unit mass. You will also be able to define and calculate average atomic mass. And you will be able to understand the postulates of Dalton's atomic theory and relate it with the laws of chemical combinations. I'm starting with law of conservation of mass. All the chemical reactions are governed by certain laws, and these laws are called law of chemical combination. Two laws we already studied in class 9th, that is law of conservation of mass and law of definite proportion. So just recall law of conservation of mass. In all the physical or chemical reactions, the total mass of the reactants is always equal to the total mass of the product. Or we can say that matter can neither be created nor be destroyed. Or you can say matter is indestructible. This law was established by Antoine Lavoisier. Now I am taking one example. Nitrogen when reacts with hydrogen, it will form ammonia. Now here mass of nitrogen is 28 gram, that is N2 14 into 2 28, and mass of hydrogen is 6 atoms of hydrogen total, so 3 into 2, that is 6 gram, and mass of ammonia is 17 gram, 2 moles of ammonia, so 2 into 17, that is 34 gram. So mass of the reactant is 34 gram, mass of the product is 34 gram, so mass is conserved during this reaction. Now I'm taking one numerical. What weight of sodium chloride is decomposed by 4.9 gram of H2SO4 if 6 gram of NaHSO4 and 1.825 gram of HCl are produced in the same reaction? Now first of all students, you have to write the reaction. Here reactants are NaCl and H2SO4. So we write them on left hand side and NaHSO4 and HCl are product. So we write them on right hand side. Now mass of H2SO4 is 4.9. We write it below H2SO4. Mass of NaCl, let us take it X. NaHSO4 mass is 6 and HCl mass is 1.825. Now, mass of product is 7.825 and the value of X is 7.825 minus 4.9, that is 2.925 gram. This is the answer, that is the weight of NaCl. Now there are some practice questions. When 4.2 gram of NaHCO3 is added to a solution of CS3COOH weighing 10 gram, it is observed that 2.2 gram of CO2 is released. The residue is found to weigh 12 gram. Show that these data are in agreement with law of conservation of mass. Now I highlight the reactants as red color and product with yellow color. So just add the mass of the reactant and mass of the product and you will get the mass same. That is, the mass of reactant is equal to the mass of product. So the law of conservation of mass is proved. Similarly, in the second question, it is same. 1.7 plus 0.585 is equal to 1.435 plus 0.85. That is, law of conservation of mass is true. Just try these two questions by your own. Next law is law of definite proportion or law of constant composition. This law was given by French chemist Joseph Proust in 1799. Now the definition of this law is that in a pure chemical compound, it is always consists of same elements combined together in definite proportion by mass. For example, CO2. It can be prepared by different methods, like by burning of coke, that is C plus O2 gives CO2, by decomposition of calcium carbonate, that is CaCO3 when heated gives CaO plus CO2, and third by action of dilute HCl on washing soda or baking soda, that is Na2CO3 plus HCl gives NaCl plus CO2 plus H2O. Now in all the three ways we can prepare CO2, but once the CO2 is formed, the ratio of carbon and oxygen is always 12:32, that is 3:8 by mass. So similarly, in water, that is H2O, hydrogen and oxygen ratio is 1:8 by mass. So this proves that the law of definite proportion is true. That means in a chemical compound, different elements are always present in the definite proportion by mass. Now I am taking one numerical. The mass of copper oxide obtained by heating 2.16 gram of metallic copper. This is the mass of copper. When it reacts with nitric acid and subsequent ignition, it was found to be 2.7 gram. It is the mass of copper oxide. Now another experiment, we take 1.15 gram of copper oxide and on reduction it will yield 0.92 gram of copper. So coming to the solution part, in first experiment, the mass of copper is 2.16 gram and the mass of copper oxide is 2.70 gram. When we deduct the mass of copper from mass of copper oxide, we get the mass of oxygen, that is 0.54 gram. Now we find out the percentage of copper. How? 2.16, that is weight of copper divided by the weight of copper oxide into 100. It comes to be 80%. Similarly, we can find out the percentage of oxygen, that is 20%. Coming to the second experiment, weight of copper is given 0.92 gram. Weight of copper oxide is also given 1.15 gram. And we can find out the weight of oxygen by subtracting the mass of copper from mass of copper oxide. And it comes to be 0.23 gram. Now we find out the percentage of copper and percentage of oxygen in a similar manner. And in both experiments, the mass or percentage of copper and oxygen is same. That means in copper oxide, the copper and oxygen are always in the ratio of 80:20. Now there are some practice questions. First question is, copper sulfate crystals, that is CuSO4.5H2O, contain 25.54% of copper and 36.07% of water. If the law of constant composition is true, calculate the weight of copper required to obtain 40 gram of crystalline copper sulfate. Now, the weight of copper is 25.45%. That means if the copper sulfate crystals weight is 100, then the weight of copper is 25.45. So we can find out the weight of copper in 40 gram. Hint is given, 25.45 divided by 100 into 40. Now the second question is, silver chloride was prepared in two ways. In first way, 0.5 gram of silver was dissolved in concentrated HNO3 and excess hydrochloric acid was added to it. And we get the precipitate of silver chloride and the weight of this residue is 0.66 gram. Now in another experiment, we take the 1 gram of silver metal and it is heated in the current of chlorine and we get 1.32 gram of silver chloride. Now show that these data are in accordance with the law of constant composition. Now again, in the first experiment, we have the weight of silver 0.5 and the weight of NaCl is 0.66. So we can find out the weight of chlorine when we subtract 0.50 from 0.66. That is, we get 0.16 gram. Similarly, in second experiment, we deduct 1 gram for 1.32 gram and we get 0.32 gram and 0.16. Now if we find out the ratio of silver and chlorine in both the experiment, it will be same. So again, the law of constant composition is proved. Try these questions and if you have problem, give me in comment section. Now the next is law of multiple proportion. The law was given by Dalton in 1803. Now, This law is if two elements combine together to form two or more than two compounds, then by keeping the mass of one element fixed, the mass of the other element will be in simple whole number ratio. Now, check the figure given. Here we take different nitrogen and oxygen combined to form five types of oxide: N2O, NO, N2O3, NO2 and N2O5. In all the oxides, nitrogen and oxygen mass ratio is given. In first, nitrogen 2 atoms, so 28 gram, oxygen 1 atom, 16 gram. In second oxide, 14 and 16. In third oxide, 28, 48. In fourth, it is 14, 32. And in fifth oxide, it is 28, 80. Now, according to law, we have to fix the mass of one element. So here we are fixing the mass of nitrogen as 14. So look here, in first compound of nitrogen and oxygen, that is N2O, 28 gram react with nitrogen react with 16 gram of oxygen. So 14 gram reacts with 8 gram. Similarly, in second, 14 gram reacts with 16 gram. In third, 14 gram reacts with 24. In fourth, 14 gram reacts with 32. And in fifth, 14 gram reacts with 40. If we find out the ratio of nitrogen, that is 8 is to 16 is to 24 is to 32 is to 40. That is 1 is to 2 is to 3 is to 4 is to 5. Since this ratio is simple whole number ratio, so law of multiple proportion is supported. Now, another example, when carbon combined with oxygen, it forms CO2 and CO. In both the compounds, the carbon is 12 gram, but in first compound, that is in CO2, oxygen is 32 gram, and in second compound, oxygen is 16 gram. So 32 is to 16, that is 2 is to 1. Again, the ratio is fixed. So the law of definite proportion is proved. Now I'm taking one numerical. A metal forms two oxide. The higher oxide contain 80% of metal. That means 20% oxygen. Now 0.72 gram of lower oxide give 0.80 gram of higher oxide. So this 0.80 is the mass of higher oxide when it is oxidized. Now show that these data illustrates the law of multiple proportion. Now I am taking the case of higher oxide first. Weight of higher oxide we have to find out. We know that the mass of higher oxide is 0.80 and its percentage is 80. So the 80% of 0.8 comes to be 0.64 gram. This is the weight of metal in higher oxide. Now weight of oxygen you can find out by deducting the weight of metal from the total weight of the oxide, that is 0.8 minus 0.64 gives you 0.16, that is weight of oxygen. Now coming to the lower oxide. In lower oxide the metal is same, that is 0.64 gram. But the weight of oxygen is now, because the metal oxide weight is lower oxide is 0.72 gram. So 0.72 minus 0.64, it comes to be 0.08 gram. Now ratio of oxygen in first, that is 0.16, and in second it is 0.08, that is 2 is to 1. So it proves the law of multiple proportion as they are in simple whole number ratio. Now practice question. Copper gives two oxides. On heating 1 gram of each in hydrogen, we get 0.888 gram and 0.798 gram of metal, that is copper respectively. Show that these results are in agreement with law of multiple proportion. Now I am giving you hint. Here mass of copper is giving 0.888 gram. So you will get the mass of oxygen by subtracting the mass of copper from 1. Similarly, in second you will subtract the 0.798 from 1 and you will get the mass of oxygen in two cases. Now you keep the mass of one element fixed. Now always remember one thing, you keep the mass of the element whose value is less fixed. Here oxygen is in lesser quantity, so you fix the weight of oxygen and then find out the weight of copper. So you will get the ratio of copper in 2 oxide in 2 is to 1. Just try this question. Now second question is carbon and hydrogen combine to form three compounds A, B and C. And here the percentage of hydrogen is 25, 14.3 and 7.7 respectively. Show that the data illustrates the law of multiple proportion. Now again, this is very simple. The percentage of hydrogen in all the three compounds is given, and you can find out the percentage of carbon as the percentage given. So 100 minus 25, 100 minus 14.3 and 100 minus 7.7. So you will get the percentage of carbon. Now by fixing the mass of hydrogen, because hydrogen is in lesser quantity, you will get the mass of the carbon, that is in simple whole number ratio, and it comes to be in 3:6:12, that is 1:2:4. Now the third practice question is that the following data were obtained for three oxides. 1.77 gram of red oxide contain 1.61 gram of lead. 6.90 gram of yellow oxide contains 6.42 gram of lead, and 1.195 gram of brown oxide contain 1.035 gram of lead. Now here again you deduct the mass of lead from the lead oxide mass, so you will get the mass of oxygen in all the three cases. Now by keeping the mass of oxygen fixed, you can find out the mass of lead. It will be in the simple whole number ratio, that is 3:4:2. Just try these questions. Now the next law is Gay-Lussac's law of combining volume. Under similar conditions of temperature and pressure, whenever gases combine, they do so in the volume which bears simple whole number ratio with each other and also with the gaseous product. Now taking example, the combination of hydrogen and chlorine, H2 plus Cl2 gives 2HCl. So here one volume of hydrogen reacts with one volume of chlorine to give two volume of HCl. So the ratio is 1:1:2. That is a simple whole number ratio. Again the second example, nitrogen plus hydrogen gives ammonia. One volume of nitrogen combined with three volume of hydrogen to give two volume of ammonia. Remember one thing, the volume should be in same unit, either in ml or in liter, but it should be same on reactant side and also in product side. Next is Avogadro's hypothesis. Under similar conditions of temperature and pressure, equal volume of all gases contain equal number of molecules or moles. Means if the volume of the gas is equal, then the number of molecules of the gases are always equal. Here in figure you can see the volume is same for hydrogen, nitrogen and helium. So their number of molecules are also same. Their mass may be different according to their weight. Now the next is Dalton's atomic theory. You already studied about it in 9th class. Just recall postulates of Dalton's atomic theory. Matter is made up of extremely small particles called atoms. Atoms of same elements are identical in all the respect, that is weight, size and all the properties. This postulate proves the law of definite proportion. Third postulate is atoms of different elements are different in all respect. That means size, mass and properties. Next is atom is the smallest portion of matter which can take part in any chemical combination. This is the latest definition of atom. Now atoms of the same or different elements combine together to form compound atoms, that is molecules. When atoms combine with one another to form compounds or compound atoms or molecules, they do so in simple whole number ratio. This postulate proves the law of multiple proportion. Last is atom can neither be created nor be destroyed in a physical or chemical change. This postulate proves the law of conservation of mass. Now limitations of Dalton's atomic theory. Dalton's atomic theory is based on weight, but it gave no explanation about the volume. That is, it could not explain the Gay-Lussac's law. It failed to explain why atoms of different elements different in size and properties. It could not explain why atoms combine to form molecules. It fails to explain the bonding between the atoms to form molecule, that is chemical bonding. Now Dalton said that atom is indivisible, but after the atomic model, we know that the atom is divisible and subatomic particles, that is electron, protons and neutrons, are present in the atom. Dalton said that atoms of the same elements have same masses, but after the discovery of isotopes, it is found that same atom may have different masses. Like chlorine have mass of 35 and 37. Similarly, he said that atoms of different elements have different masses. But isobars are the atoms of different elements having same masses. For example, argon and calcium. Both are different elements, but both are having masses 40. Now, next topic is atomic and molecular masses. We know that atom is very, very small. So, if we express its weight in gram, so gram is a very big unit to express its mass. So, we express the mass of atom as relative mass and its unit is atomic mass unit or U. In modern concern, we use the unit U, that is unified mass. Now, for relative mass, we take an atom for reference atom. So here we take the carbon 12, that is the carbon isotope having mass 12. So the relative atomic mass of an element is equal to mass of one atom of that element divided by 1 upon 12 into mass of one atom of carbon, taking as C12. Now, for example, if the relative atomic mass of an element is 24U, it means it is 2 times heavier than that of C12 atom. Similarly, if the relative atomic mass of an element is 4U, it means that the element has 1/3 the mass of carbon 12 atom. Now the next is average atomic mass. We know that atomic mass is equal to the sum of the number of neutrons and number of protons. Number of neutrons and protons are always in whole number. So their sum, that is atomic mass, should always be in whole number. But we know that atomic mass of some elements are in fraction. For example, chlorine has the atomic mass 35.5 U. It can only be explained by the concept of average atomic mass. The average atomic mass of an element is actually the average mass of all the isotopes of that element present in the nature. Now, how to calculate the average atomic mass? If an element has two isotopes having masses A and B and their relative abundance ratio in the nature is M and N respectively, then their average atomic mass can be given by the formula A into M, that is mass of first isotope into its abundance plus mass of second isotope into its abundance upon total abundance. If we take abundance in percentage, then M plus N should be 100. Now I am taking one example. The element chlorine has two isotopes Cl35 and 37 in the relative proportion in 3:1. What is the average atomic mass? So mass of first isotope is 35 and its proportion is 3. So 35 into 3. Mass of second isotope is 37 and its percentage abundance is 1. Relative abundance is 1. So 37 into 1 divided by total average ratio, sum of the ratio, that is 3 plus 1. So it will give 142 upon 4, that is 35.5 U. Next is molecular mass and gram molecular mass. Now first, molecular mass. It is the sum of atomic masses of all the atoms which constitutes a molecule of that substance. For example, molecular mass of CaCO3. The mass of calcium is 40, mass of carbon is 12, mass of oxygen is 16 and 3 atoms of oxygen, so 16 into 3. And their sum is 100U. So the molecular mass of CaCO3 is 100U. It means that it is the mass of one molecule of calcium carbonate. Now the next is gram molecular mass. The quantity of a substance whose mass is in grams is numerically equal to the relative molecular mass. It is called gram molecule. Now, for example, gram molecular mass of CaCO3 is equal to 100 gram. That means it is the mass of 1 mole of calcium carbonate. Remember one thing, 100 U means mass of one molecule of calcium carbonate and 100 gram is mass of 1 gram molecule of calcium carbonate, that is 1 mole of calcium carbonate. Next is formula mass. Same as we give the mass of molecular compounds in the terms of molecular mass. In case of ionic compound, we use the term formula mass. For example, in NaCl, mass of Na is 23, Cl is 35.5. So the formula mass of NaCl is 58.5 U. Now you solve the question number 1, 9, 21, 26 and 32 of your NCERT exercise. These questions are related to this part of your chapter. Thank you. Hope you like the video. My videos cover each and every topic of NCERT. Please check the description box for the important questions related to this topic. If you have any queries related to topic or numerical, you can write in the comment section. I will try to solve your query as soon as possible. Don't forget to subscribe my channel so that you will get the notifications of my next videos. Thank you.